Hello and welcome to Module 1. In this module, we're going to identify all your money stuff and we're going to get ourselves organized, okay? So just, again, get your coffee, get your pen and paper, and let's get started. I hope you downloaded your Module 1 workbook already. If not, go ahead and pause me and get that done. I'm going to turn off my video so it's not distracting, and we're going to go through and get started. Here we go. So I want to welcome you once again. This is Module 1. In this module, we are going to identify your money stuff because there's some money stuff that goes on there and we're going to get organized. So this is our preparation module. I also want to just celebrate you. You have made a commitment to yourself and your business to get your financial shit together. That is so incredible. And let me tell you why. There are a lot of people who have financial issues, even in the short term, and they don't ask for help. They don't get help. They don't look for resources until typically things are bad for 2 to 3 years. Now, if that's you, I want to congratulate you for reaching out and getting some help. If you have not found yourself in that situation, you're a brand new baby entrepreneur, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way at all. I'm very excited when people start businesses and they start to make impact and change in the world and hire people and impact their communities. It's just, entrepreneurship is amazing. But I want to congratulate you also for finding this course right now as you're starting to set up so you don't make money mistakes, or at least not too many, because we all actually do continue to make mistakes. I still do to this day, in full disclosure, but I make less of them. So I want you to go ahead and know that there is no judgment here. I want you to know that if you need to reach out to me on email, or if you need to reach out to me on social media and tell me a story or ask for some input or advice, go ahead and do so, okay? There's no judgment. My personal story starts from my husband's near fatal accident in 2013 when we lost our business that was making $200,000 a year. We went to $0 a year because we had to close that business. I went back to work for the Army, and it took us 39 months to dig out of $76,000 in debt, including IRS lien debt because we couldn't pay our taxes that year. So trust me, there is no judgment here. So please feel free to reach out at any time if you have any questions or any problems, and I'm more than happy to help you. All right, I always like to start with a quote, and this one's a great one, especially, you know, since this is Module 1 and we're just getting started. If you don't build your dreams, someone will hire you to build theirs. So I want you here doing your dreams. All right, so we're going to start, and this isn't really exactly woo-woo, as some people like to call it when we examine our thoughts and our feelings around something, but I want you to examine your feelings around money, and here's why. For some people, there's a lot of money block. And the way that they don't manage their money because they ignore it or they don't want to take control of the money, something has to do with a feeling that they have around money. Maybe the way that they see money affecting their lives, good or bad, or the way that they think it's stressful maybe to have to do some of the money stuff. So I just want you to kind of get some of that out on paper, and let's take a look. So very simply, in your journal there, what are the top 3 words that currently describe your feelings towards business money management? This is personal to you. What 3 words would you want to use to describe your feelings towards money management? What are your fears around your business money? So for a lot of people, I hear either there's not going to be enough, or there's going to be enough, but it's all going away. In other words, it's bleeding out as fast as I can make it. Those are 2 very common ones. So if either of those resonates with you, go ahead and use them. But tell me, what are your fears around your business money? And sometimes it's a fear about not being able to personally manage it. So that's another common one I hear. So if any of those resonate with you, I want you to know you are not alone. All right, how do you currently approach your monthly money responsibilities? Be honest. How are you doing it today? Go ahead and write that down. And how do you want to feel when you finish paying your expenses and deciding what to do with the rest of your money when we have money left over? How do you want to feel about that? Do you want to feel in charge? I'm not going to give you words. I'll just let you decide. But how do you want to feel? And finally, answer this with a very straight face. Do you routinely pay yourself a business paycheck? If the answer to that is yes, I want to celebrate you. If the answer to that is no, I want to tell you that's going to change, and we're going to start seeing what we can do to get you taking home money because you are showing up and serving, and you deserve tangible reward for that. All right, so this is it. We're going to dive into the meat, and this is the Get Organized section. Now, at any time, if you need to pause, that's fine. Pause me, go answer those questions. Pause me, get a drink of water. Pause me, get some coffee. That's fine. You can listen to this over and over and over again. There's no limit on this for you. All right, but the first thing I want to do is I want to tell you that if you are in business, the number one thing we have to do is separate your finances. This is the first part of getting organized. This is the first part of any kind of business money management. We need to separate your money. Your business money has to have its own identity, and it needs to be separate from your personal money. So how do we do this? Well, you need a business bank account, and you need business checks and a business debit card if you do online, like shopping for supplies or something, or if you have some kind of vendor relationship where you have to give them a debit card. And your operating expenses will be paid right out of your business account, and it's something called an operating account. This is the account that you're going to put all of your money in every time it comes in, whether it comes in from online or if someone walks into your store, or however people are paying you, whether it's by automated check, whatever it is, all of that money goes into a singular location, and that's going to be called your operating account. So every business needs to have an operating account. I also have on here holding accounts, which we will talk about a little bit later. Holding accounts are where we segregate money to when we're either saving it for a specific purpose, like to pay annual expenses, or we're saving it because it's going to be used for some kind of project or product launch. Or sometimes people have holding accounts for taxes, and that's where they put away a little bit of money either to pay sales taxes or to hold their percentage of taxes that they need to pay every quarter. I actually have a different system about my self-employment taxes, which I'm going to share with you, but I want you to know that your business has to have its own financial identity. Now, your operating account, that is your main account. That's where all the money is going to go into. And from there, it'll be segmented off or segregated into other accounts, and it'll be used to pay expenses. I want you to know that you will be writing yourself your paychecks straight out of that operating account. So make sure you have checks on that account, even if you're somebody who likes to use the debit card online to make purchases and also to set up subscriptions. The other thing is you're going to withhold your self-employment taxes from your paycheck, but we're actually going to include that also from your operating account. So everything is going into that one account. All right. Now, why am I so adamant about making a paycheck? Because you have got to eat if you're going to show up every day. You've got to be able to take a hot shower. You've got to be able to do all of those things to take care of yourself so you can show up and take care of your clients and your customers. Now, I am of the Dave Ramsey School of Financial Coaching. That's where I learned personal financial coaching. And this right here is one of the 4 walls of business. I believe that if we don't secure the owner and the owner's livelihood, then the business is not going to work. It's going to fail. So I want you to know that you can use your base paycheck that we're going to figure out for you, and you'll have a separate budget for personal expenses. Do not pay any of your personal expenses out of your operating account. No more paying your car payment out of the operating account. And, I say this with love because I've seen a lot of people do it. Just recently, I was actually at a conference, and somebody told me that they paid their kid's orthodontia like $4,000 from the business account, because she's like, well, it just seemed like an extra step to have to write myself a paycheck and then deposit it. But at this point, she's now commingled it, and it becomes a little bit of a tax nightmare. So right from the beginnings, we're going to be separate. Okay, the next thing is we need to know who we pay and how to get in touch with them, and our account numbers and our login information. And I need you to have a central location with all of your expenses. Now, you have a great form right there in your workbook. Some people really love using spreadsheets. Open a spreadsheet and do it that way. I'm not a fan, so I like pen and paper. Get a notebook if you'd rather use a notebook. Maybe you already have something similar working in your office and you just need to update it because you haven't looked at it in a year or so. But I want you to find all this information. This is one of the first action item steps. Now, 2 good reasons to do this. 1, you can sit down when you're intentionally paying your bills and take this one log or paper record, whatever you want to call it, and pay your bills. Because I'm going to encourage you to take everything off of auto pay. I'm going to encourage you to make sure that you're the one who's in control of your cash flow. The second reason is, as you grow and get bigger and bigger, wouldn't it be great sometimes to pass off some of this responsibility? Well, you can hand off this information to a trusted VA or accountant or somebody like that in the future. So I want you to start thinking in terms of, I'm getting organized, not just for now, but for later. And I want you to get that stuff all together. Let me go back here really quick. If you don't have all this information, I want to encourage you, as you get the bills in the mail this month, go ahead and keep that information. And I'm going to tell you a little story here. I actually threw away the electric bill one month. That's what started all this for me years and years ago, is I threw away the electric bill. And it was an accident. It was an oversight. I didn't realize that I had not paid it. It came in the next month, and it was in the summer with the air conditioning charges, and it was insanely expensive. I couldn't believe that I had completely forgotten to pay that bill, but it just happened. I threw it away. I didn't have the envelope or anything. So if you don't have them in your possession right now, as they come in this next month, make yourself a note, make a commitment to go ahead and write them into your new record. All right, next, we're going to handle taxes. Everybody's least favorite thing, but I'm going to tell you, this is how I want you to look at it. If you are paying taxes, that means you're making the money, and that is awesome. It is incredibly wonderful to be paying taxes, because that means you're making money. It means you're bringing money in the doors. You are generating something. You're leaving, you're going out, you're killing it, you're dragging it home, and now you've got to pay your taxes on it. And I'm really excited for you. So if you are in the US, you can have what's called an employer identification number, an EIN. And if you are in the UK, you have a UTR, it's a tax record. And you can apply for those either through the IRS, irs.gov, or online. I put the links actually in the workbook. So the thing is, you know, if your structure is something else, like an LLC in the United States, or a limited, or a corporation, then your EIN will be tied to that entity. That UTR will be tied to that entity. You're still going to have to set up something for your own personal self-employment taxes, but your taxes get a little more complicated when you get into structures other than sole proprietorship. So really, to set up for this, your self-employment taxes, you can do it if you're a corporation, but you're only setting up to pay your own taxes and not taxes on the entity. Now, I have here, establish a second business holding account for taxes. This is one of the first holding accounts I'm going to encourage you to have. If you don't have a holding account for taxes, you know, the likelihood that during the quarter you could make some kind of mistake and maybe spend a little of the money, or the temptation to borrow against your tax money because you'll put it back later, you know, that can be very strong. And I definitely don't advise people do that. So if you are somebody who pays your taxes quarterly, which is the minimum you're allowed to pay, you have to file a return and pay them quarterly, then get a holding account and deposit your tax money regularly into that fee-free checking account. Now, what I do is I deposit through EFTPS. That's what I set up here. Online, I have it linked directly to my bank account. I go ahead and I withhold my taxes, and I just deposit there. And it's actually deposited under my Social Security number, my husband's Social Security number, because we are married, filing jointly, and he's got the, I guess, senior position in the taxes, which is fine with me. But so we go ahead and I deposit every single time I take a paycheck. I set aside my self-employment taxes, and I set up to have them taken straight out of my bank account, and they're taken care of, and that's it. In the UK, you can also do this, and you can do a self-assessment, I've been told, at any time. I am a US attorney. I'm not a UK barrister or attorney, so I can't really speak to that too much on the legal side. But I do know that you do have to do a self-assessment. I've been told you can do it anytime you want. If you have any questions on that, I would get with somebody in the UK who does deal with the taxes to make sure that you're set up properly. But you can also set up online, and the link is in the book. All right, then the last one is, are you somebody who has to submit sales taxes? Sales taxes or VAT taxes. VAT is another one. I deal with quite a few people over in the UK, and you know, I even have people in the EU. So if you have to set up to submit sales taxes, I want you to set up a holding account for that, another fee-free checking. And sometimes it's a good idea to not have all your business checking accounts in one spot, but that you would have it open at another bank maybe, so that there's no mistake. If you are collecting VAT or you are collecting sales taxes, I want you to know that's not your money. That is the state's money, and you're collecting it, and you're just holding it for them until it's time for you to turn it over. Now, I say this with a very straight face because I did work with somebody who had not been submitting sales taxes, and there was a mistake made in the account, and they ended up spending close to $1,000 of the state's money. That is theft legally. You know, that is what it is. It's using money that's not yours. It's actually not a good thing. So if you are collecting sales tax or VAT tax, I strongly encourage you, set aside another holding account. Deposit your tax that's in there all the time, every single time. Now, the other thing about sales taxes, and I know I do have some people who have done network marketing, sometimes when you order your product from the company, if you keep product on hand, some of your sales taxes will be paid already. Keep notice of what you have paid in sales taxes, because at the end of the year, there could be a difference in, let's say, somebody got a discount, so the sales taxes would have been lowered, or maybe you gave some product away as a gift, in which case, you know, the sales taxes were paid on something that was given as a gift. So I want you to go ahead and just keep track of your sales taxes. And then the last thing is figure out how you would go ahead and submit and deposit those taxes. Here in Ohio, where I am, once a year, I deposit taxes as a business for our schools. And that is just paid once a year right through the auditor's office. I go right down. I live in a little town, but I pay that once a year. So I know how to pay those, and I just go ahead and do them. If you have any of these taxes, if you have some sales tax, whatever it is, I encourage you to take time this week in Module 1, and please make sure that you know all of the legalities around that. Now, if you are somebody who has not been withholding taxes, if you are somebody who maybe has accidentally spent sales taxes, I want you to know there's no need to panic. There is a way around this. You can call, in a lot of cases, set up some payment plans and things. If you have an IRS issue, like you haven't been paying your self-employment taxes, there are possibly ways to get on a payment plan. But if any of these things has happened to you, please don't ignore it. You're in this course now to get your financial shit together, and I'm going to encourage you right now to make a note to figure out who you need to call to help you get out of that mess. And if you don't know where to start and you have nowhere to turn, email me, assist@entremoneycoach.com, or hit me up on social media, and I will help you immediately. This is serious stuff, but it's not anything that you have to lose sleep over, because we're going to take care of it together. All right, so here are all your action steps. Seems like a short module, but my gosh, there's a lot to do. I want you to open the accounts if you haven't already. So if you have an operating account, but you don't have a holding account for taxes, go ahead and open a holding account. I want you to order checks on your operating account. If you haven't been, if you've just been transferring money back and forth, or paying your car payment out of this account, I want you to order those checks. Checks are not that expensive. Just go online, get them ordered so that you can start writing yourself a paycheck in future modules. I want you to go ahead and set up all your payment deposits to your operating account. So if you have Stripe, if you use PayPal, I think Square is another one, whatever you're using overseas, anytime you take deposits, if they're not already going to a centralized operating account, why don't you set everything up so it all goes into the same place? It's much easier to deal with if it's all in the same pot there. I want you to organize all your bills in one location. And again, if you don't have all your bills because you threw them away like I did, wait till it comes in the mail and go ahead and fill that in so that you have that taken care of. And then I want you to set up to pay your sales tax and VAT if required. And if you do have any issues in those areas, I encourage you to get them sorted this week. Make a few phone calls. Don't be afraid. It's so much easier if we handle them now rather than if we start to get in trouble later on. And then the last thing I want to encourage you and let you know is what I want you to take control of and what I want you to deal with is the income that comes into the company. You need to know what comes in, you need to know where it goes, and you need to know how much goes when. Other than that, I don't do my own bookkeeping. My husband actually helps me with a lot of that. And I have an accountant, okay? When I had employees, I did not do payroll. Reason being is it's not my zone of genius. I'm very, very good with financial coaching and strategy. I'm very good at making money and making sure that it's, being well taken care of on the cash flow front. But I really don't like doing profit and loss sheets or any of the other things that accountants do. I'm going to encourage you, even if you can't afford to get an accountant today because you really are a brand new business, make yourself a sticky note and put it up there that says, find an accountant as soon as I can. Because I want you to know that you don't have to operate in all this money stuff that's not in your zone of genius. I want to encourage you that taking control of your money and getting your financial shit together really means taking control of all the money that flows in and the income to your business, and you being in charge of saying who gets paid, when and how much, so that you control the cash flow in your business, so that you're always, always able to control the cash and the money. So that's it for module 1. You have quite a few implementation steps to take this week. You are welcome to go into module 2 if you've already done these, but if not, I do encourage you, take these steps this week as soon as you can, and let's start getting your stuff organized and prepared, because next week we're going to pinpoint and start getting things put together. Take care and have a great week. Happy entrepreneuring.